Some of the great all-time boxers in his weight class aren't able to catch up to Floyd Mayweather. And I will grant you, Father Time is undefeated. So maybe there's a slight slowing of Floyd Mayweather when he gets into a ring. But that does not appear to be a guy who's going to catch the great Floyd Mayweather. And I know I've heard it from everybody like, well, here's the thing now, right? So it gets to about round 6 and things aren't going well. Something crazy could happen.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people.
Right?
I was talking with Michael Vick a couple days ago when he was here, and he said that exact same thing. He thinks Conor may do some MMA thing that gets him disqualified.
That still wouldn't allow him to win the fight.
No.
Is there any possible way in which you would bet on Conor McGregor to win this fight?
No. Well, you said it. No, number one. But if Floyd, like I was always saying when they were talking about making this fight, if I was Floyd Mayweather, I would try to somehow, some way, test my reflexes and my speed to make sure they were close to where they were 2 years ago. Because if they depreciated significantly, because remember, we're talking about world-class athletes. It only takes a hair of a difference between winning gold and finishing, without a medal. And so those punches, if he's lost a little bit of speed, a little bit of his reflexes, those punches that he used to be able to slip just slightly, maybe now they catch you. That's what happened with Roy Jones.
Yeah. And honestly, it's like Ray Lewis, okay? Like Ray Lewis, one of the great linebackers in the history of the NFL. If you go back and look at the last Super Bowl that the Ravens won, they held on against San Francisco, Colin Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers. The game plan was the exact opposite of previous Super Bowls. Instead of going away from, you went at Ray Lewis because he couldn't run anymore, right?
Yep.
Because once you lose that slight second of speed, we saw Jason Kidd's last series with the New York Knicks, right?
He couldn't even score a point.
Couldn't play.
Yeah.
People forget, here's one. People forget, and I know Mike Bibby played in the NBA after this, but one of the things people forget about LeBron James with the Heat, his first year with the Heat when they played against the Mavericks, and he was bad.
Yep.
Okay? But Mike Bibby was so bad in the first 5 games as the starting point guard of the Miami Heat. Started the first 5 games, did not play a minute, didn't take the sweats off in game 6. Why? Because he was washed. So once you get to the point of being washed, it doesn't matter. The difference is he's not going against a boxer.
No.
Right? He's not going against Triple G, okay?
Yep.
Who could end him.
Yep.
He's going against a guy who's a striker for a mixed martial artist. And that's where he buys himself another fight or 2 because his reflexes don't have to be prime Floyd reflexes.
What they were. That's true. I mean, McGregor's knocking guys out who don't know how to roll with punches, don't avoid punches as well, and don't take as many punches and build up that type of chin that a boxer does, So we have to judge him. He's against amateurs. We can't judge him against professional boxers. So I think he's in trouble.
Chris Broussard joining us. What do you make of what Adrian Wojnarowski said in regards to the Lakers? We all kind of reacted and chuckled at Rob Pelinka and the comments about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and the obvious slapping of Rich Paul, the agent. But the comments to me was like LeBron knows that this next stop, if there's a next stop, might not necessarily be about winning, but where he wants to play, where he wants to be.
What would that say about the second best player? I think the second best player of all time, next to Michael Jordan. Like, that he's just giving up, that I can't win? I mean, you play ball at a high level, and he's not on the team. He's not in Brooklyn. He's the best player in the world. He's got 2 perennial All-Stars. I know Golden State is phenomenal, but I can't imagine a player that great feeling like I have no chance. So I'm just going to go play where I want to play. And remember, scuttlebutt around the league when it comes to LeBron is never really on point. I mean, when he was in Cleveland his first go-round, the scuttlebutt around the league was, oh, he's staying. He's not going anywhere.
Right.
Of course, he leaves. When he was in Miami,
Christine
same
said
thing.
this exact same thing.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, nobody knew Miami, and then nobody knew Cleveland until we saw his wife was packing up the cars. Like, where are all those cars going from Miami, right?
Yeah, his group is very close to the vest. Now, LeBron is the king of drama. In addition to being the king of Akron, he's a king of drama. He's not going to shut down the L.A. talk. Remember his last year in Cleveland, he let every team in the league think they had a shot at having him.
New York thought they were getting him?
Everywhere he went, there was a press conference. Hey, you never know. Wait till July 1st, I mean, LeBron likes that. That's been his MO. He obviously likes attention, and we're talking about him. We're not talking about the Warriors in the offseason. We're talking about LeBron. But so I don't buy that he's just going to go somewhere to just be there because he wants to hang out and live in that city. I think he's going to go somewhere or stay in Cleveland because it's his best shot at winning a championship.
We talked about this on Speak for Yourself yesterday, where we were discussing O.J. Simpson. You said it was at the end of the age of innocence with athletes.
I would say he would be the poster child for that. He was not the beginning of this, when we began to see athletes' private lives that weren't really, they weren't the all-American lives that we kind of envisioned them living. He wasn't the first, but I think if there was a poster child or a face of that ending of that myth, it would clearly be O.J. Simpson.
What about the idea of the black community has a sympathetic figure? Do you buy into the idea that there should be a different sensibility from the black community than maybe from the white community?
Well, I'll tell you this. We have such different histories in this country, white Americans and black Americans, that we're going to see a lot of things differently. Obviously, when it comes to race, we see things very differently in a lot of cases. So I understand the black community rallying around OJ the way they did. And I even understand some of the people in the black community feeling like when he was exonerated, when he was found innocent of those charges, a lot of people cheered. Quite honestly, we saw it. People cheered.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I didn't like, even as a black American, I didn't like the cheering because at the end of the day, a couple people's lives were lost. That's the bottom line. And I wanted justice served.
Taken.
If he did it.
Taken.
Yeah, taken.
Taken.
If he did it,
yeah.
then he should pay the price, black or white. But I do understand the sentiment behind African Americans cheering the way that many did. It's because so many times in the courtroom, African Americans have gotten the short end of the stick, the wrong end of the stick, and still do to this day, that seeing one get, favorable treatment was a cause for celebration to many African Americans. So I understood it, but I still just didn't like cheering for, when two people, in fact, were killed.
Yeah, I mean, my issue is I think that the trial, at the time of the trial, there was, and specific not just to race issues historically in our country, but specific to Los Angeles at that current point in time, in relations to the LAPD, and then previous to that with what happened with Rodney King, right?
Exactly.
And the LA riots and some of the other things that were going on just in LA. I understood that part of the context of the story, but now so long removed from it, he embodies so many of the things that the black community should revolt against. Not just that he left the black community behind and that only used it to support him in his time of need, but also somebody that they continue to champion, to which, he got a second chance.
Yeah.
Right? He got a reprieve after what I believe, again, he was proven not guilty in a court of law, but I believe is a heinous crime, one that is subhuman acts. That said, he didn't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
He could have turned his life around, and no, I wouldn't have bought into it being real, but at least tried to make some good out of it, and he still did not.
Well, here's the thing, though. A lot of people in the African American community feel like we see whites getting away with injustice still to this day. We look at Philando Castile, Terrence Crutcher. We could go on and on and on. White police officers getting away with what we see as clear murder of unarmed African American men, unarmed American citizens. So in some people's minds, they'll say, well, hey, whites have getting away with this stuff. So we don't care that OJ did this and this and this. He should get away with it too. And we're gonna, that's where the logic comes in for a lot of people. I'm of the opinion I want to see justice served, period. Two wrongs don't make a right. But again, I get the sentiment. Look, when you have a system that in terms of race has been corrupt and still in many cases is corrupt, then this is what it leads to. You can't hold one group of people to one standard, but then let another group of people get away with things and expect us all to be like, that's just the way it is.
The interesting part about justice, which is all anybody can ever hope for, right? With our justice system, and it's an imperfect system. There is no perfect system, but it's closer to perfect than any other one that I'm aware exists in the free world. The interesting thing about it is, like, you have this juxtaposition of he didn't serve any time for the murders that most of us believe he committed. Now he's serving way too much time for something that's a completely trumped up charge. Is that really justice? Is that really who we want to be? Right? That's a weird thing as a society to root for. Like, if justice served, he probably should go free now for that particular charge. But in totality, he should spend the rest of his life behind bars.
Yeah, I mean, if he was found innocent, I know he was found guilty in the civil case, but he was found innocent of the murder charge.
He's found not guilty. There's a distinction.
But many people think he did it.
And then they had the book, If I Did It, which is, and again, part of it is how the book is designed. If I did it, but it's I did it, right?
That was ridiculous.
Who does that?
I'm not here to go to bat for O.J. Simpson. All I'm saying is our justice system found him not guilty. And then the thing he's in jail for now, I believe he served enough time for that.